Us visual novel fans have had it bad for a while now. From being told to either watch the anime or read a book, to the barrage of Steam hentai games that make us look bad. But there's something special about a good visual novel that can make them so captivating sometimes. Series like Steins Gate, Danganronpa, and Zero Escape, all well-known series, started out as such, and forever will be special to me. Then again, no other visual novel has a story as compelling to me as everything surrounding the release of Chaos at NoAH. And no, I won't be talking about the actual story of the game. Instead, I'll be explaining the whole history of BS that this game has had to go through before it released twice. I'll be privating my two other videos I've made on this game, as this video will be covering everything I mentioned in those. And since we're talking about the Science Avenger series, I think it would be most fitting to get into character. I'm Okabe now. Maybe not the same game, but it's the same series, so it's okay. Originally a 2008 Japanese Windows PC game, Chaos Head was the first game in the Science Adventure series, which now includes titles such as Steins Gate, Chaos Child, and Robotics Notes. It released unfinished and eventually re-released as the complete title Chaos Head NoAH in 2009, still in Japan only. Obviously, with how meaningful this game is to the general plot of every other game in the series, the English fans were dying to play this one for themselves. And that's where the problem lies. An English translation never came until way later on. So why don't we skip 14 years? 14 years. That's how long it took for it to be announced. And for those who may be thinking, why don't you just watch the anime? Well, the anime is known to be notoriously bad, as it's too short for the story to really flesh out and develop the characters. Same as Danganronpa, for example, and the opposite as Steins Gate, which was actually given the time and episode count it needed. Back in February of last year, the game was finally announced on Steam, and then on Switch, as the Chaos Head NoAH Chaos Child Double Pack. And I remember fans were losing their mind when this happened. The problem were people were pretty worried about the English translation, as its sequel, Chaos Child, had a pretty unfaithful one. Now I'd like to bring up a very talented group of individuals known as the Committee of Zero. These guys have been faithfully relocalizing the Science Adventure series since Steins Gate way back in 2016. They play a major part in why this is such a massive deal to begin with. Way back before the official translation of Chaos Head NoAH even got announced, they were hard at work creating their own version of such for their own launcher, NitroSharp. The project had already been long in the works, so it wasn't even close to release at the time. Before we continue, I want to mention two bits of info that could be confusing to some people. The number one, a translation and a localization aren't actually the same thing. A translation is just straight up exactly what's said in Japanese, translated into English. And then on the other hand, a localization is taking the source material and making it sound like it was originally in English. Now unfortunately, the localization process does have to remove some jokes. But again, it also makes the reading experience much more clear so that the consumer can have a better grasp of the situation going on in the text, since visual novels can be a little bit complicated at times. Now the other thing I want to mention is the Community of Zero's own game launcher, NitroSharp. So the main reason this exists is because it didn't seem like there was a translation for this game in sight. So they decided in order to make the game playable in the West, they'd create their own launcher and people with the Japanese copy of NoAH could put it on there and play it with the patch legally. Back to the main story. Then we had a pause. No new official info other than a Steelbox release for Switch was shown for quite a while. Until September, when pre-orders opened up for the Switch version of the Double Pack. Many people were happy to get a hold of it physically, and for good reason. It's an old game. Regardless of quality, it was pretty huge. But in August, the Steam database had updated their page for the game. Usually this means that the game has been banned if it updates this early before release. Obviously nothing official was stated for quite a while, but people were concerned and some immediately jumped the gun on pre-ordering the Switch version, such as myself. The game was also supposed to be coming out on October 7th, which felt like it was coming faster than anybody could imagine. So what else happened between August and October? Well, for starters, people on Twitter were spreading awareness, including myself, about the so-called Steam banning of Chaos at NoAH. Hashtag Save Chaos and hashtag Save Syad were massive and definitely helped push Steam into giving the game another chance. Spike Chunsoft, on the other hand, didn't say anything until September 30th, when they said that they are unable to release the game on Steam due to Steam's guidelines requiring changes of its content, and that it wouldn't release to standard if they changed it. Apparently this has been pretty common for visual novels with a school setting. Unfortunately, it did look like PC players were gonna have to find another solution. So here's my story. Like I said earlier, I pre-ordered the game in September, assuming it wouldn't come to Steam. I was then proven wrong. On October 7th, hours, just merely hours before the game's release, Steam changed their stance and said that they were going to release the game as per usual. So now I'm left with a non-modded Switch and the Chaos Head NoAH Chaos Child Double Pack. So now you may be thinking, why don't I just refund it? Well, I would, but Nintendo has a really bad refund policy. Apparently, if the game releases within 7 days, so a week, you just can't refund it. So I then had to go call their support team. And thank God they were really good with this stuff, because I got a refund and no problem. Nope, no problem, no time. What? The game officially releases and yeah, it had a pretty crappy translation. Many bugs were also found shortly after, specifically one that would cause the game to freeze before the true ending is triggered. Like, no joke, the game was unbeatable for a month because of this bug. It didn't help that it was actually a really easy issue to fix as well. The bug consisted of the true end trigger not activating the right cutscene. We had to wait about a month for it to be patched officially. The game was then released on GOG on October 30th, opening up more places for people to get it with the Committee of Zero patch supported when it eventually releases. And yes, throughout all this time, the committee was still patching out bugs because this game had an incredibly broken launch. Oh boy, now here's some more recent news. Chiyomaru Shikura, the chairman and executive director of Mages, stepped down. But news is he'll continue to work as executive producer and will continue to make more games. So I guess that's not something we should worry about. But something we definitely should worry about is what happened in late December. Mages, the company responsible for these games, has filed for insolvency. This quote, taken from gaming news outlet Noisy Pixels, stated that it was recently revealed that the developer of the science adventure series, Mages, reported a considerable amount of losses for their September 2022 fiscal year, with the recent report stating a total loss of 613 million yen. It is unknown what could have caused such a huge loss, but because of it, the company has now entered a stage of insolvency, which in layman's terms means the company's going to be unable to pay its debts, which can lead to bankruptcy in the worst case scenario. The future of the company ain't looking great at the moment, but only time will tell. On a more positive note, February 3rd marked the release date of the long-awaited Committee of Zero patch, giving many people including myself a definitive way to experience this title to the fullest. Yep, delayed from October until February. The official translation was so bad that it took months of work to correct it. It's unfortunate, but definitely welcoming to the second month of the new year. Let's hope we get some more info on Anonymous Code's official translation soon, but it seems to be in good hands, this time from a few sources. 2 days later, they also announced fan localizations of Chaos Head Love Choo Choo and Chaos Child Love Choo Choo, which will indeed finish up this chaotic series we all know and love. For a funny little end to this story, the r/visual novels subreddit has been at war with Committee of Zero fans. This is seemingly due to one of their mods not liking the patch, and every post related to it has resulted in many users getting banned. Seems like it's been going on for a while now, so it's best to just not get involved. Finally, let's hope for some Anonymous Codes, Steins Gate Zero Elite news, and something related to Steins question mark soon. Chaos Head NoAH will forever remain one of the most interesting visual novel related stories I've heard to this date, and I'm glad I was the person to sum it up for you all. And yeah, that's about it. I know it's a lot. Let me know if I missed something, said something just completely wrong, or even what I could have done better down in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you soon for the next video. I'm so sorry for my own delay. Bye bye.